Clearly, the locks have been tampered with, consistent with Alan's explanation that he moved the motorhome himself. It's a small detail, but one that could give officers grounds to detain him later on, depending on how this unfolds. But without a warrant, officers can't search inside the motorhome, so they step back, leave the scene, and head towards Big Hill, where Patrick might be. At this stage, there is still no confirmed crime. Alan has been forthcoming, and nothing directly points to anything serious just yet. But by the end of this night, police will have more than one suspect on their hands, and what might be the worst crime this town will ever see. But before we get to that, it's important to note that cases like these can affect the mental health of both the officers and the innocent people involved, and stressful situations in everyone's life can often have the same effect. I hit a point where trying to move on wasn't working, and I didn't really have anyone I could talk to without feeling like I was a burden, or worrying about how they'd react, or what they'd think. And that's when I realized having someone completely outside your life who can give you a clear, unbiased perspective actually makes a huge difference. That's why I've partnered with today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Starting therapy can feel like a huge step, but BetterHelp actually makes it really simple. You take a short quiz, get matched with a licensed therapist, and if it's not the right fit, you can switch anytime at no extra cost. Which I think is huge, because finding the right therapist makes all the difference. And I'm not the only one who thinks so. Over 6 million people have used BetterHelp, earning it a 4.8 out of 5 rating on the App Store. Click the link in the description, or go to betterhelp.com/DrInsanity to get 10% off your first month. Let's get back to the video. Roughly 2 hours later, deputies arrive at Big Hill, where Patrick was known to frequent for cutting firewood. On the ground, deputies notice tire marks and begin following them, and as they continue along the trail, they spot something in the distance. A red pickup truck matching the description of Patrick's vehicle, with a damaged windshield.
Yeah, I think that's normal. I believe so.
Pat! Pat! That motherfucker dead.
Pat, it's the County Sheriff's Office! You hear us?
Dog's in the seat.
Alive?
What was the dog's name?
Ryder.
Ryder, buddy. Ryder.
Did it wait?
No, it's not moving.
Dog's been in here a while. He's messed himself. Oh, he's moving. It's definitely a he, by the way.
Yeah, little nigga,
I'm here, okay. I'm gonna get you some water, okay? Where'd he go? Where did he go?
Miraculously, Patrick's dog Ryder is still alive after 2 full days, but he's severely dehydrated. As deputies pull Ryder from the vehicle and give him water, they notice something else. Patrick's chainsaw is missing from the truck, suggesting he might still be somewhere nearby. And while they discuss their next steps, Ryder suddenly begins reacting to something in the air. Dogs like Ryder have a sense of smell up to 100,000 times more powerful than humans, comparable even to trained police canine units. Without realizing it, officers have stumbled onto their strongest lead yet, and Ryder might guide them directly towards the answer they're looking for.
Poor buddy.
What's up? No.
So that makes me think he could be down lower if he was, because his chainsaw's not here. Yeah. He always has his chainsaw. I'm thinking so.
I kind of want to walk down there and see if his behavior still points that way.
Right. Let's walk him.
Dude, you gotta give me a break. We can't go down there. That is completely down. There is no angle to that. I'm arguing with the dog.
As luck would have it, the dog picks up a scent, but can't pinpoint a specific location. The reason for that is something officers haven't realized yet, because there is no single place where Patrick might be. He's already been dead for 2 nights, dismembered, with his own chainsaw, and scattered across the very mountains deputies are now searching. Some of his remains are already floating down the river of no return, just 20 miles from where they're standing.
With Wendy's new Biggie Deals, you can snack anywhere you want.
Dario.
Because I'm not just a bag, I want 3 Biggie Deals you can choose from. Shotgun.
But
Consider me a package.
shotgun these.
A Biggie Deal for any size hunger.
Ah.
Wendy's.
Bitch, you know what I want.
Over the years, people have called him superhuman, but I'm not. Like nearly
Man, shut your
24
bitch
years
ass up,
ago,
Shaq.
I struggle with moderate obstructive sleep.
With today's NBA stars, no lead is safe.
That on it.
Two.
Up 20 used to be.
Fuck, man.
None of this is apparent to deputies yet, so they decide to take a closer look at Patrick's pickup truck for any additional clues. What they notice inside is very sketchy. Red staining across the interior, heavily soaked towels on the driver's seat, items marked with blood, and a discarded mail letter with the name Alan Bruce on it. Something violent happened here, and the more deputies think about it, the more obvious what happened to Patrick becomes. So before the evening ends, they secure the scene and return to town where they talk to other acquaintances of Patrick who collectively make one thing crystal clear. Alan had an ongoing feud with Patrick. He recently moved his motorhome using heavy equipment and damaged it in the process. And he's the only person anyone can think of who might want to hurt Patrick. With that in mind, investigators formally identify Alan Bruce as the primary suspect in Patrick Shelton's disappearance. But the reality and discoveries awaiting investigators in the coming hours are anything but straightforward, and still find themselves investigating more than one suspect. For the time being, though, search warrants are requested for both properties, and Idaho State Police are called in, bringing in a team of experienced detectives. However, as the multi-agency effort is underway, someone in town is simultaneously running their own homicide cover-up operation. As night falls, Alan moves quietly, continuing to dump body parts and evidence in the river, and burning anything that could tie him to what he's done. At the same time, police's search and rescue units are mobilized, preparing to comb through the surrounding terrain for any sign of Patrick. Around midnight, Deputy Mike is sent to patrol near Patrick's truck, monitoring the area in case anything changes. A few hours into his shift, something does.
Who are you?
Your mama.
Stop right there. Just go ahead and stop right there. So what are you coming out here for? That guy there, Patrick Shelton. That's his stuff, and I'm kind of looking after a little bit. Okay. Car down here, and I thought I'd come down here to investigate, see if someone's missing off. Okay. I didn't know it was you guys. Okay, well, I turned my lights on, and you still were shining your light at me. Yeah, you had your lights on me. I couldn't see where I was going. Okay, I'm saying I turned my red and blue lights on. Yeah. And you were still spotlighting me. And then I instructed you to turn it off. I don't like lights in my eyes about as much as you don't. You know, you had yours in mine, so I got three. No, it's not even. Okay, so what are you doing? You're just keeping an eye on Patrick Shelton. Okay. Got a little problem going on down here. That's why I'm missing where the snack light. You having a little what problem? Thievery. What? Thievery. Okay. Talk to Ethan Kelly about that. He'll tell you. Okay. All right. So you're just trying to keep an eye on stuff then. Yeah. Make sure nobody's ripping shit off down here. Okay. Excuse me for if I got you excited. All right. 270, 240. We can calm down. I'm code for it.
Out here, in complete darkness, Alan Bruce suddenly appears. Nothing about this encounter adds up, because at this point, Alan isn't just the last person to see Patrick alive. He's been in a dispute with him, moved his motorhome after he disappeared, and now he's out here in the middle of the night claiming he's checking on Patrick's property and protecting it from theft. In reality, he came here to finish what he started, to destroy evidence he didn't have time to deal with earlier when deputies interrupted him. Worse yet, just minutes ago, he was at the River of No Return a couple miles away, disposing of what was left of Patrick. Deputy Mike doesn't know any of this yet, but this creepy encounter makes it clear that Alan knows something police don't. Unfortunately for him, this is where things begin to crumble, because coming back here tonight is the mistake that's about to collapse his entire cover-up operation. In the early hours of the following morning, investigators used the overnight developments and the encounter with Alan to accelerate the approval of search warrants. With everything they've seen so far, it's clear Alan knows something they don't, and they need to find out what that is. To do that, they put a plan in motion. First, get Alan off the property, search it, and if any hard evidence is found, bring him back and confront him with it. So while detectives get the search warrants approved, one deputy is sent to Alan's property with a simple objective: get Alan into the car and keep him away from the property to avoid destruction of any evidence. Alan, on the other hand, believes he's already taken care of all the incriminating evidence, and that there's nothing left to find. When Deputy Kelly arrives at the lot, Alan has no clue how quickly his entire cover-up plot will come crashing down on him.
Hey, Alan.
Hey, Alan.
Hope your day's a little better than when I last ran into you. You said everything was... Well, your truck's still broken down, I guess, so maybe that's not the case. You doing alright? Just hop in the front there.
We've got unfinished business here.
Yeah, is there... You still got stuff on your property, too, to get off, too, huh? So, I mean, y'all were getting along for a while there, but then... What happened there? He just started accusing you of stuff, or...?
Yeah. Nothing I just can't convince him that what.
Well, I appreciate you being available to just chat with them a bit more. They're the professionals. They've got questions I probably didn't ask you.
Even as the deputy tries to subtly probe for more information, nothing useful comes out of it, and Alan sticks to his story. Interestingly, though, Alan appears noticeably more relaxed, likely because he's confident that there's no way police can tie him to a crime. Roughly 30 minutes later, deputies and detectives arrive at the property. While Alan waits inside his car, the discovery of the evidence he failed to cover up starts with Patrick's motorhome.
Sheriff's office. Make yourself known.
Got a gun case?
Patrick's empty gun box is consistent with earlier statements that he always keeps a firearm with him. The problem is, that gun is nowhere to be found in the motorhome, and it was never found in his pickup truck the previous day. With Patrick's motorhome cleared, officers move over to Alan's property. Alan owns multiple structures and vehicles on the lot, and after clearing a few of them, deputies find no obvious signs of a crime. It seems like Alan's cover-up operation is successful so far, but that begins to change as deputies notice something unusual lingering across parts of the property.
Oh, it stinks bad. So we're just gonna hold on this trailer until we can get keys. If you won't give us keys, then we'll go from there. But we need to hold on this until we get that. Do we want to call out to the dog?
Let's go ahead and do it while we're here. We got it cleared. It might be the best way to get something to hold him.
As the search continues, deputies can smell an odor of burnt meat across parts of the lot, but no clear source. After checking around the structures again and searching the open areas, they can't find anything. So, to pinpoint the source, deputies call in a cadaver dog trained to detect human remains. And a few minutes later, police canine Spy arrives on scene. After running the dog across the property, Spy begins alerting to the presence of something inside a set of barrels.
I'm rolling.
cleaned out.
Okay, so let's start looking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
We got our window.
In a burned spot. Ah.
Latex gloves, windows.
Mm-hmm. And doggy treats.
I'm gonna get a backed up picture.
Inside the barrel, officers begin to uncover what Alan tried to hide. Broken window glass of a car, consistent with a bullet impact, latex gloves, and traces of blood on the filter of a vacuum cleaner. After searching other barrels, officers find night vision binoculars, Patrick's baseball cap marked with blood, and most concerning of all, bone fragments and suspected human remains on multiple pieces of clothing. Additional items are recovered as well, including ammunition and magazines, but no firearms, suggesting the weapons may have been moved or hidden somewhere else. Among the findings, detectives note the missing firearms, the lack of any intact remains, and the speed at which the scene appears to have been cleaned, something particularly peculiar, leading them to consider that Alan may not have acted alone. After these discoveries, Alan's property is officially treated as a crime scene. The area is secured and forensic examiners are called in to process the evidence. Detectives now have the hard evidence they need to confront Alan. But while they prepare to do so, an unexpected development happens when Alan's younger brother Larry suddenly shows up at the scene. Hours earlier, police received an oddly timed phone call from him, claiming that if anything happened to Patrick, it was his own fault. Not only that, Larry made additional statements about Patrick that led detectives to question whether they might be dealing
Patrick
with a
shit
second
himself a lot.
suspect.
It stank. No.
Okay, so he was kind of concerned Patrick might do something stupid and use a gun or something.
That's gonna kill him, you know?
Right.
On the call, Larry made it clear that Patrick was the aggressor and the one who had been threatening Alan, leading investigators to suspect he might know more than what he shared on the phone. So naturally, their suspicions rise when he arrives at the search warrant scene unannounced. Once detectives begin speaking with him, Larry seems confident he can prove that Patrick was the problem.
You are?
I'm Ellen.
Okay, I'm Sergeant Federal State Police. So obviously your brother got something on the
That's what it sounded like.
Started raining on the trailer. You know what's the trailer is. I'm not gonna rain on it. You said that Shelton, is that the guy's name?
Patrick Shelton, yeah.
Okay. That he was threatening your brother, right?
Right.
And so is that something your brother told you, or do you have other knowledge of that?
That's something my brother told me. My brother said, hey, he pulled a pistol and waved it in my face and threatened me.
And how long ago did your brother tell you that? About a week?
That was probably about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
If somebody was waving a gun at me, I'd probably be, wanting to have something to defend myself too,
Right.
My brother had been asking Shelton to move for months.
Okay.
And Shelton was like, look, basically. So my brother took the little road grader, the little dozer, and pulled his stuff and put it out here on the other side of the fence.
Is this something your brother told you, or is this something you saw?
As far as moving the stuff, yeah, I came by the day that he was moving stuff on the way home. What I'd done though, when my brother moved the stuff just to try to get the pressure off of my brother, I texted Shelton and I told him, hey, I moved your crap off of my brother's lot. So then he texted me back when he got to town going, I got a beef with you. I mean, Shelton's a drunk and a dope fiend. Okay, so I told him not getting your stuff off my brother's lot. That was Helen's lot. That was May 3rd.
Okay.
He goes, I'm broke down, trying to get a ride.
And you said, never mind, I moved it for you, give Alan back whatever you took it as.
Yeah, he goes, who is this? Yeah, Alan brought the beef to me anyway. I don't have any of his Alan kept showing me pictures of stuff that was missing, you know, where it was and missing, and Patrick was like one of the only people in here. So, Archie, I have a beef with you too. But bring your beef. We know who you are, drug addict. Just remember me with all of us. And I take pictures from the sheriff's office parking lot thinking that, well, maybe he'd think I'm a sheriff, or maybe he'd package, you know, or leave Alan alone and get down to town, you know. So I put, me with all of us, you'll lose. Best thing for you to do is pack up and leave Custer County and don't come back.
Alan's brother goes on to pull up additional messages between him and Patrick. The messages he shares show the feud escalating over time, primarily over Patrick refusing to move his property off the land and accusations that he'd been stealing from Alan. As detectives read through them, it becomes clear that Alan's brother wasn't just aware of the conflict, he was involved in it at some point. This only adds to investigators' suspicions, so instead of continuing to circle around it, the detective says exactly what he's thinking.
Yeah, and no sign of Shelton, though, huh? Find a body or anything? Or?
There's signs of Shelton, there's not. One of the things I'm trying to wrap my head around is, I'm like, how did he do that by himself? He's not a very big guy. Like, how would he move things around without somebody helping? Like, if he, let's just say that if he shot Shelton and took him somewhere and dumped his body, who would he call to help?
I have no clue. I mean, he wouldn't call me.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Does he have good friends that...
I don't know. I don't know what he's capable of, you know? I mean...
Right.
I don't know anybody that would help him move something, you know, help him commit a crime, you know? I mean, my wife would shoot me if I helped him, you know?
How long have you been married?
Since 2016.
Yeah, she murdered you.
9 years. Last night she's like going, oh, this and that, you know, and what if it was that one? What if he comes and kills us in our sleep, you know? I was like, you know, because, I mean, she was watching that Criminal Minds for a long time, you know, after she retired from the DA, you know, it's like, you know, serial killers, you know.
Tell God it's Custer County. Don't worry about serial killers. When it's all said and done, everybody will know everything.
You can pick your friends, and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your family.
On that interesting remark, Larry shifts from defending his brother to no longer being certain, and begins to see things the way investigators do. With nothing else to add, police wrap up the interview with Larry, still uncertain of his involvement. Now they can finally turn their attention back to Alan, who's still sitting in the car, completely unaware of what's just been uncovered on his lot. At this point, investigators have enough to place Alan under arrest and pursue homicide charges. The problem is, they don't have a body, and they don't have a confession, both of which are critical in building a solid case, especially when it comes to proving exactly what happened and how. But with the evidence discovered on his property, this is their best chance to confront Alan directly and push for a confession. The stakes are extremely high. If Alan plays his cards right, a skilled defense attorney can create just enough reasonable doubt to get him out of this scot-free.
But if they've gone hitting on other spots on the property that have bone fragments, and the only thing that dog was tricked to hit on is dead humans. You know, there was only 2 people here that night, you and him. Correct? There's nobody else that I can talk to. Can't find him. And if you didn't do it and somebody else did, can you point me in the right direction?
Can't do that. I don't know anybody else is out here.
No, that's like I said, I don't either.
Even after hearing this, Alan continues his denial. But this is exactly why investigators brought him back to the property. It's a part of a strategy known as crime scene exposure. Experienced detectives use this technique to confront suspects with something directly tied to the crime, like the scene itself or key pieces of evidence. This creates psychological pressure, making it harder to maintain a lie, and often triggering unexpected reactions or slips in their story. So investigators take Alan out of the car and bring him back to the center of the lot, back to the very place where everything likely happened, to see if he will finally break.
We want to be able to tell the prosecutor you helped us. You could.
Shit. I can put that in my case and go through the rest of my life. What?
I don't know. I can't tell you what it costs. I gotta go to the insurance job now.
You don't have to go to the right now. Yeah. So the way it works here is he doesn't feel like we should let you stay free, right? So we're still going to continue to investigate this case with your help or without your help. We're still going to dig through.
Yeah. But there's still some things that like concern me, like, and I don't know if you asked him about like who drove the truck up in the mountains.
Nobody drove it. I towed it up there.
Oh, you towed it up there?
Yeah.
Okay. With which vehicle?
My dog.
Okay.
We drove on and towed it up there.
Oh, okay. What'd you do with the dog?
Back there in the truck.
Oh, dog didn't know.
I didn't want to kill it. Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's just, I mean, we're in a rock and a hard place right now, right? That's where we've been all day. That's where we're going to continue to be until we can completely wrap this up and figure out what the hell happened.
Well, before you take it, I'll back a lot on the door.
Okay.
yeah, we're not gonna leave this unsecured. I mean, we'll
lock it all up, ready to use.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did call.
Well, that's part of it, but you also destroyed some evidence. I don't know. I've never been in that situation.
I don't know. Dude, come on. You burned a body. Come on.
Yeah, I did.
You didn't tell anybody. So, like, look at it from our point of view. You know, we gotta do the right thing for Patrick's family. You know what I mean? We gotta try to find that body. You know, we gotta do the right thing for his family.
There is no body. No, he is reduced down to nothing.
Did you chop him up?
No, I think when the bone go, we put the wood on and everything. Yeah, I chopped him up.
Where's the chainsaw? Where's the chainsaw?
It's
Did you throw it in the river?
I thought it was.
You have the chainsaw? You know, yeah, we got it. Where's that at? How did you clean that up?
It's come on, right? That's what everything I did. Walked it down the hose and put four on top.
And the chainsaw's where?
The bone go, that's it.
Final crash. A meeting that was shot Patrick was needed him and burned the body before exposure of the remains. With the confession now on record, investigators turn their attention to a critical question. Did Alan act alone, or was there simply a deadly conspiracy? Before we take the two tests further,
We're not arguing that. We're just trying to figure out how to get it, where it's at, when you do that.
She set up herself.
You got a point. I mean, what we're trying to do is all Alan.
I tried to hide it and get away with it.
Yeah. And like I said, we're just trying to, you know, get some closure for his family and present the picture so that everybody understands why you did what you did.
inside, likely because everything had already been destroyed or lost in a river of no return. As for the missing firearms, investigators later recovered both the rifle and Patrick's silver pistol at the residence of an associate of Alan. The man claims Alan brought the weapons to him intending to sell them, and with no evidence tying his associates or his brother to a homicide or the cover-up, investigators determined that Alan acted alone. In October 2025, Alan's initial charges were reduced to second-degree murder and destruction of evidence after Alan entered an Alfred club, a union who maintains his innocence by encouraging prostitutes and evidence security. In November 2025, a judge denies Alan's last-minute attempt to withdraw the plea and sentences him to 20 years in custody. He was served at least 10 years before becoming eligible for parole, meaning he would get a chance to walk free in his 80s. But given the severity of the crime, there is a very real possibility that he never leaves prison again.
Nice to meet you.
These claims of knowledge, police would have everyone evacuate the premises and lock down the cabin. Fortunately, Isaac never showed any forensic evidence of
Drop down from any of these goddamn matches.
She first told me they were at Isaac's house. I said, "Say run." Okay. But I could hear this in the background. I could hear Isaac talking to somebody. And she was still sitting in the car. And I said, if you're at your house, if you guys are at your house, why are you still sitting in the car? She's like, well, I don't know where we are. I said, Sabra, ask Isaac where you are. So she asked Isaac where they were. Isaac said, it's okay, I stopped at a buddy's house. And I said, okay. I don't know what buddy. I know they said something. But then they said, and then I took them. They were in my room. Maybe 20 minutes. And I told Isaac he needed to leave. He said, he was calm when I was talking to Sabra on the phone. Much different person when he was there at the room. He said, well, once I go to my house and get what I need, I'm going back out there. I don't know what he was meaning, but he was going out there to finish something off.
What time was that?
That was, I made it, they left my room at 19:05.
5 a.m.?
Yes. Because then I called my mom, because I said, obviously, I don't know what's going on. I'm not going to work today. And I called McDonald's, I'm manager at McDonald's, and I called him and said, I don't really know what's going on. I'm not being told everything. I still can't believe this.
disregard for their crimes is something that both Isaac and Saber should be held accountable for. Police would go on to get written statements from everyone at the house that night, adding to the pile of evidence against Isaac. However, the next day, Hannah and James would show up to the station to provide police with the most damning evidence they've received yet. This video is a crucial step in achieving Isaac's mission, as it shows clearly that Isaac really found Charlie. Additionally, CFC is comparing some of the evidence right before the second occurs. In the image, you could possibly different kinds of Charlie. In case, police has more than enough evidence to arrest Isaac and Saber. This would be an easy task, as police were able to pin Saber's home location to Isaac's house. They would be detained shortly thereafter. However, during the investigation, they also discovered something peculiar. By tracing the car's movements found at Isaac's house, officers realized that Saber and Isaac visited two other locations before arriving at their own home. The first was the house of Isaac's friend, Justin Stone. At approximately 3 a.m., just minutes after the stabbing, CCTV cameras captured Saber and Isaac stopping at the home. Soon unravel itself as officers call Justin.
Hello, is this Justin? Hi, Justin. This is Detective McCarthy. He's
Until he has nothing left other than to admit his evil actions.
Okay, how long have you lived there? 6 to 7 years now. You live there with your mom and stuff like I get her
Today, NBA stars aren't just all-stars. New types of stars. DraftKings is the best way to bet on whoever shines next. What's up, stars? New customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Baker makes the perfect last a group of friends make a better game to watch. Nobody sees it. Did that happen? We'll never have to know. Email designs for hungry fans. SMS to spread your message. AI automations to bring
Nice to see the cavalry's here.
But for now, police have another issue to address. It's still unclear what Saber's role was in the murder. The phone recording could indicate that she handed Isaac the knife, so she could be equally as guilty for the crime as Isaac is. However, their one priority is to convict Isaac and extract the truth of what happened that night. So they sit Saber down for her one and only interrogation, with plans to slowly build the pressure until she breaks down and confesses everything.
Start out with, let's say, what time did you get to work?
So I was at work and then I got off at 7. I also had to tear my leg, so I didn't get out until about 7:30. I went home. He was just sitting right off their bicycles. So I left the office and just got on the car. He said, Janice, just wait for a few hours because I was supposed to go. somehow at that time, it's exactly that time, and all of a sudden I hear this big, like, you know, arguing, and I was like, oh my gosh, please, something's wrong with Isaac. I go out, and I hear, like, a bunch of different stories. Isaac and a few other people are saying that he accidentally pushed Isaac, which is my brother's girlfriend. Then my brother's sitting here saying he intentionally pushed her. I don't think he intentionally pushed her. He's not that type of person. He's not violent, especially with girls. And because his mom was abused by his dad, so he knows what it's like. And he's seen his mom go through all that. So I know he's not the type that's
It's odd that Saber describes Isaac as non-violent and doubles down on him not being the aggressor the entire night, because all of the previous witnesses stated otherwise. Isaac has had a thorough history of abuse, and everyone besides Saber clearly remembers him being the aggressor the entire night. There is a good chance that the reason why Saber is defending Isaac is a far more deep-rooted issue. Trauma bonding occurs when an individual suffers from cycles of abuse, followed by positive reinforcement. This causes the victim to develop a strong emotional attachment to the abuser, which can result in a rationalization of the abuser's behavior. Considering the facts that Isaac has abused Saber's mom, one might question if he's really the same Saber makes him out to be in their relationship. But for now, all that Saber wants is to defend Isaac, because to her, it doesn't matter because he moved
horrible as well. So they're not going to have a mother or a father. Does that change things for you? Does that put some things into perspective? But you weren't thinking about that when you threw the knife. Alright. Isaac, you're going to stand up, put your hands behind your back, and this time you're under arrest for murder.
At this point, Isaac has nothing more to say, and the body cam concludes shortly after. With so much evidence stacked against him and his girlfriend, the two were placed into custody as they awaited their trial. A year later, on August 26, 2024, Sarah Flagg pled guilty to obstructing justice. This is a 5th-degree felony that comes with a maximum of 12 months in prison and a $2,500 fine. As for Isaac Pence, he was convicted of 1 count of murder, 2 counts of felonious assault, and 1 count of tampering with evidence. A month later, on September 25th, he was finally sentenced to 18 years to life in prison, where he will not see the light of day for a long, long time. If you're interested in watching our uncensored, extended 2 to 4 hour coverages of these original cases, make sure to check out our Patreon link in the description.
Visit check-in. Feel free.
At Five Guys, we always hook you up with the little deals. Always handmade, always fresh. So when your craving calls, get your burger guy on the line. Five Guys.
Taylor, Officer Briggs. Okay, it's not sold yet. Okay, but the owner was found deceased. That's where we're at.
This is Taylor Elkins. Just 2 hours ago, Taylor's teacher, 72-year-old William Dubois, was discovered brutally beaten and deceased inside his home.
Yeah, they all told me. Really?
What's interesting is that days later, Taylor would be found driving her now dead teacher's car.
You know why that's really car? Because he's dead. He's been beat to death. You're driving a car. I don't know what you think that's going to do with it.
What seemed like a straightforward case would turn out to be a complicated mess of neighborhood drama, secret affairs, and deadly conflicts.
I was in bed and I heard a big thing. That's something wrong.
Could be a burglary. Could be somebody that he wronged, and they're coming back for vengeance.
You're a really cold, heartless murderer. It's not going to go away. It's not going to quit. You're going to keep having your little nightmares that you have. I hope you do for the rest of your life.
On July 11th,
Center from the nation's capital, I'm Scott Van Pelt. We have a packed guest list. The #1 pick, Fernando Mendoza, Nick Saban, from First Street, Louis Riddick, Kevin Clark, all on the clock. And as I mentioned, you know how much I love the emotion of this night. See the tears on faces as young men realize, oh my goodness, I'm going here. Well, there's a saying that all politics are local, and here in a place where politics are coming.
Yeah, I don't know, my friend.
A lot of Commanders fans, I'm one of them.
My
Here
friend,
imagine
Commander's
still be
friend.
available at 7th row. And one of those talented Buckeyes that went in the top 10 was available The fact that Kevin Clark likes it makes me like it even more. We'll talk to him about that in a moment. As for this first round, plenty of surprises, all within the first 13 picks. At 3, thought that Arizona might want to trade down. Maybe they didn't find a bidder. Maybe they just wanted Jeremiah Love. He goes third, makes him the highest drafted running back since Saquon went second overall in 2018. Saquon has translated quite nicely, as we know. Very next pick was a bit of a stunner. Ohio State wideout Cornell Tate goes 4, joining Marvin Harrison Jr., the only Ohio State wideout taken in the top 5 in the common draft era. They'll add to that next year when number 4 comes out to play on Sundays. The shocker of the night, Ty Simpson from Alabama, goes to the Rams at 13, joining Jared Goff and Sam Bradford, the only quarterback drafted by the Rams in the first round in the common draft era. He'll back up Matthew Stafford. Kurt Street joins me now, and Herbie, great to be with you always. There was a great deal of, I don't know if confusion is the right word, but haziness in the top 10 of this draft among the folks in the NFL that I talked to. Didn't know exactly how it would break. You have a lot of intel as well, and then we get the reality of the night. In terms of picks that were made, what struck you? What felt like a great fit? Something you loved in that top 10 space? Anything you want?
I think Jeremiah Love going at 3. There's a lot of predictions on you have Bailey maybe at 2, and they'll reach at 3. And a lot of people thought that Love might be available for Tennessee at 4. So I think that combination of seeing Love go at 3, and then that opened the door. Tennessee had a lot of different ways they might go with Robert Saleh, the new head coach and the defensive mindset, and he decides to go with Cornell Tate. So I just heard you when we were getting ready to go on. I think that was probably the biggest surprise, the biggest whoa in the top 10. I'm with you. Ty Simpson maybe further down was a whoa. There's Sean McVay and Les Snead once again, maybe one step ahead of everybody else, getting their
one time
after Matthew Stafford, put him in a position to really learn under Stafford and McVay. But I would look at that 3-4 combo, to me, probably surprised a lot of people.
Hey, Herbie, you know my line about Ohio State, right? Throw it to 4. Well, throwing it to 17 was a pretty good idea for Ohio State as well, but I'm with you. I didn't know that Tate would go that early, but you pair him with a quarterback, Ward, who they took last year. I want to just take a moment with you to talk David Bailey, because, yeah, we knew Mendoza would go 1 and then Love's at 3, but Bailey to New York was one of these picks that there's not a lot of discussion about, and there's a ton of talented ends that come out this year. My guy Steve thought maybe Bailey's closer to the ceiling, and the Jets need a guy that can play right away. What's your thought on this talented edge rusher from Lubbock?
Well, first, big picture, the Jets had the best night, obviously, with their 3 first-round picks. They got Bailey on the defensive side, Kenyon Sadiq, the great tight end. It's such a matchup problem, and then Omar Cooper. So you get 2 weapons there on that offense. You desperately need some playmakers. And then I think I'm with Stanford Steve. I think you get a turnkey defensive end, a guy that can play in a lot of different alignments as a defensive end and as an edge guy. You can drop him. He's sneaky athletically and powerful. A guy that I think is going to have a chance to really make a difference right away within that Jets scheme. So the Jets tonight, usually we're talking about what the Jets do wrong. Tonight we're talking about what the Jets did right, because to me they won the first night of the draft.
We're going to have Fernando Mendoza on with us a bit later, and it appears with Kirk Cousins going to Vegas, maybe like Simpson in L.A., maybe you don't have to throw him in the deep end of the pool right away. And we've seen how that can really pay dividends. But what did this young man show us after transferring from Cal to Indiana, and what he did in that run through the playoffs, and particularly against Miami on a night where his toughness was on display? I'm just interested in how you feel like he'll project. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I was going to say, even tonight we're already thinking about, on game day we were talking about 27. He had talked to a lot of people. If we did this last year, nobody's talking about Fernando Mendoza when he's leaving Cal and headed to Indiana. Maybe he's going to be the first pick next year. That tells you what he did. And his physical attributes didn't necessarily change. He's maybe more consistent as a passer. But I think what we saw was moments like this. They went to Illinois and had to come back to win. When they went to Penn State and a team that was desperate to this play right here, it wasn't just that play, it was the whole drive. What he did throwing and coming back from a pick. Eugene, Oregon, Big Ten championship. The 4 games that he made a run with in the postseason to be able to win a national championship. And doing so many different things. Playing from the pocket, moving around,
being able to read defense and his ability to process, it's next level stuff. So it's kind of ironic that Tom Brady is involved with Las Vegas and being involved in making this pick, because if you look at Brady coming out of Michigan, you look at Fernando Mendoza, kind of a similar skill set and a very similar approach to the game. They are students of the game. They want to beat you with their mind, not just come off the first primary, take off and run. This kid's going to work through his progressions, which is exactly what I think Clint Kubiak is looking to do. Now, you got to get some pieces around them. You got to get wide receivers. They got tight ends. You got Genty. They got to get stronger at the offensive line. That's what these next couple nights are for. But I think it was kind of a no-brainer that Mendoza was going to go there, and now we're very excited to see what the Raiders can do to build around it.
Herbie, I love the point you make, and everyone's talking about next year's draft already because it's loaded, but not a single person had Mendoza going 1 and 26, so plenty will change between now and then. Let's enjoy the next couple of nights of this year's draft. Go ahead, you got one more thing?
Yeah, I got one more thing. Picks by conference. It's always a debate and argument. The Big Ten had 10 in the first round. The SEC had 7. The ACC had 6. That's the first time since 2015 where the Pac-12 and the ACC had more than the SEC. So it's been 10, 11 years since the last time the SEC did not have the most players. And there were 8 draft day trades that seem to be going really a lot there towards the end. There are 8 draft day trades, multiple first-round picks.
This is my man Fax McJohnny on the way out here. Herbie dropping knowledge on the people. My man, always great to be with you tonight. Great start. Look forward to hearing more from you throughout the weekend, brother. Thank you.
Go Terps.
There we go. Always. And nobody else. That's the right answer. All right. Ty Simpson. Drafted 13th. The big surprise, the 23-year-old becomes presumably the successor to Matthew Stafford, entering his 18th season. But at 38, he is coming off an MVP in 2025. Hasn't said how long he intends to play. Here's Simpson. The draft night shocker.
It was so surreal. Not only the fact that, you know, I got to walk out on stage in the NFL draft, but the fact that took a chance on me and lose a quarterback team. So I'm super pumped. I can't wait to get to LA and I'm looking forward to being out there.
Simpson spent 4 seasons there in T-Town. Didn't start for the Tide until last season as a senior. 15 starts in college, 4 fused by a quarterback who was drafted in the first round in a quarter century. Anthony Richardson, Mitchell Trubisky, Dwayne Haskins were the only who had fewer. We welcome in Hall of Famer Coach Nick Saban. And Nick, always good to visit with you, and obviously you know this young man well, spent time there, and it would seem that he's going to be stepping into a similar situation where he's not asked to start immediately, that has some time and some runway to get prepared. Knowing the young man that you do, what's your
I think it's a perfect scenario for him, as you described, to be able to play behind Matthew Stafford for a few years. Only had 15 starts in college career. Looked phenomenal in the college
may not be the biggest throws or best, but once that receiver going like football, his skills translate to the NFL. And they're going to love Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. It's raining. It's, hey man, I don't know what the league's going. I know you guys are not scheduled. It's been fun. Well, just preparing. So who's the league book tomorrow night? Black and yellow. Last time we'll be going to that direction tomorrow night. Lewis, thanks. Enjoy the second and third round and going into the weekend. I appreciate you, man. Always. All right, we know the draft always starts with one, but this year everyone knew who was going to be. It's Fernando Mendoza, who goes 1 to Vegas. Training began at his hometown of Miami. Christopher Columbus High, 3-star recruit, had a couple of offers, and ultimately chose to go play for Cal. Started slow. Redshirt as a freshman, broke out in the second year, 24, threw for over 3,000 yards, caught 16 touchdowns, and following that, he put his name in the portal against other players, and he headed to Indiana coming off of a great year 4 and
it meant the world to me. To be able to share a moment with my family here in Miami, everybody out, friends, families, mentors, cousins, everybody, just a collection of people, because it takes a village. It wasn't just me. I had great teammates, great coaches, and just a great support staff. And to be able to celebrate with them means the world. My mom wanted the party here, so mom gets what mom wants. However, you know, whether it's in Pittsburgh or it's in Miami, Florida, I'm ready to get to work for Raider Nation.
Love it. And, you know, as a parent, and someday I hope you are, to see their faces, it's hard to describe as a parent imagining what that moment would be like. But to give them a moment like that, right, where all the things to you kind of